The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 24th day of March, 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break brought to you by People's. How's everyone doing today? Happy Monday. We made it to another traditional work week. We have a birthday in the house as well. We have a birthday, TDH team. One of our colleagues has a birthday today. So we're going to be singing happy birthday. Well, yeah, we'll it's hard because you all don't pay me to sing. And here I am just going to sing for you for free. I mean, you don't. Nobody else does that. So I'll think about singing for you for free with the birthday song. But it is Monday. We made it to another Monday. As Kenton Trot says, happy Monday, peeps. Let's get it. Let's get it. Who was up early this morning and ready to go to work? Like anybody up, pumped, and ready for Monday? Anybody? I don't know, man. You all think I'm joking. I really do love Mondays because I love what I do. But yesterday, just a quick story. Yesterday, so I'm a bit older now. We got older. Some of us are blessed or lucky. We got older. And as you get older, I'm going to use, since it's Bermuda, no offense or shade, but you all love to drink, most of you. And so, as you get older, recovery from like drinking takes a little longer, right? Well, I don't drink. I just try to, work out and go to the gym, often. And my body just takes longer to recover. So I got some Epsom salt. That's what it's called. Epsom salt, Epsom, whatever. That stuff. I went to Sprouts. Sprouts is like a Whole Foods. Got some of that. And I put it in the tub, and I literally soaked in the tub for almost an hour, folks. And at first I was reading my book, and then I put the book down, and I was just like, is it Zen? I don't know what these fancy words you all use when you're like just relaxing. So I was just like relaxing, and it felt so good, as it felt like I was in a sauna. And when I got out, I felt refreshed. I felt like I had been in a workout without having to do anything. And I felt like afterwards, I just felt like even more relaxed. Like, let me go on the couch and lay down. But anyone who hasn't done it, I would recommend it. Like, give your body, give yourself, give your mind a break every now and then. I think that might be an every Sunday thing. I know some people might be able to do it every night, but folks, it was, I shared it on my WhatsApp status. I'll even share what I used. Do it. Just do it. And it didn't cost me, like, I didn't have to go and pay for acupuncture or a massage. It was just in my tub, relaxation. So I recommend it to anyone. And it prepared me for Monday. So who was ready for Monday? Who was ready for Monday? Kenton Trot says I love Mondays too, Jamal. Yeah, there you go. We've got Hadley Swan says, absolutely not. I'm still in bed. Oh my. I hope your boss isn't watching. Suzanne Ingham says, yes, pumped. I'm up at 3 a.m. Pumped. All right. She beats my 5 a.m. Kenton Trot says, can we pay you not to sing? All right. Well, I won't sing. You all will sing happy birthday a bit later on in the show. All right. And Suzanne says, awesome Monday, Jamal. and Maya. Happy birthday to the very special TDHer. Yeah, we'll get there. All right. And Mark Ofsey Phillips says, good morning and a happy Monday, and greetings and good morning to you, and greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we discuss what you believe the appropriate number of MPs Bermuda needs for its government to function well. All right, that's what we'll discuss today. The daily play is going to be some Bermuda trivia today. All right. And don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Before we jump into today's conversation, I'm going to have a joke for you all today, too. I'm going to do a joke. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Don't sound too excited. Gee, acting like Maya. Maya's, rubbing off on you folks. Anyway, yeah, we're going to do a joke, get you pumped, everyone who's not ready for Monday. But before we jump in, obviously there's so much to talk about today. There's the increase in FAR, right? The fuel adjustment rate at Belco. We've got the MPs tabling the legislation to increase their pay. But I want to bring this conversation back that we had some months ago. And it was, what are your thoughts on having less members of parliament? Like, how do you feel about that? Because John Barrett, Mr. Barrett, who is a friend of this show, and he'll be back on next month, he made some very valid points in an op-ed in the Royal Gazette recently, but I'll get into that. But what are your thoughts on having less members of parliament? And I'll give you some comparative analysis in another space. But we also had the question, how many members of parliament do you believe Bermuda needs to have a properly functioning government? We have that question, and I'll share the QR code on the screen. You can go here. You don't have to, it's anonymous, so you don't have to let us know. And so you can let us know just scanning that QR code. It's got some options there for you, and I'll share the link in the comments for you as well. So we'll share the link, and if you're on the book, the tube, or the website, thedailyhour.com, you will see that link. So if you're on thedailyhour.com, Facebook, or YouTube, you can click the link, and it will take you to the same place the QR code leads. But we're asking you, on that QR code that's on the screen, we're asking, how many members of parliament do you believe Bermuda needs to have a properly functioning government? How many members of parliament do you believe Bermuda needs to have a properly functioning government? That's the question on the QR code on the screen. But we're asking you today, what are your thoughts on having less members of parliament? What are your thoughts on having less members of parliament? And I want to go to, it was on my phone, I'm sorry. But John Barrett had wrote something. But let me just give you some context from the Royal Gazette. It was last week, the 21st. Minister Rebane reveals details of public sector pay deal. So the story basically says public sector workers have been given a pay increase of almost 5% under an agreement reached with unions and the government. Separately, MPs and senators are expected to take home bigger pay packets after an independent committee recommended a salary increase of 18.8%. So you all know how I feel about this. And if you've just tuned in, if you've never heard me talk or say anything or discuss this topic, I have been a believer in having less members of parliament and an increase in pay. But see, this is the politics of it all. The government of today would have never moved this way had the election been next month or in the summer or later on this year. And so that to me is just playing on people, right? It's telling you what they really think of people. It's shameful, but again, this government knows what they can do and get away with it. I am not opposed to the increase necessarily. My thoughts are that, yeah, I do agree that members of parliament should be paid more. I also believe that we should have less members of parliament. My hope is that an increase in pay, and again, people join politics for different reasons. We want people who don't join just for money or for a career. The unfortunate part is we have people who are members of parliament who have been unsuccessful in private sector, right? They've been unsuccessful in the private sector. So we get people who pretty much get into politics. That's not how it's supposed to work. So the idea is, you know what? Maybe that doctor or that insurance exec or that lawyer will transition and use their skill set to get involved in politics if they knew that financially it would be worth their time. So no, it may not be about money, but people still have bills to pay. And someone who's a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant or a business owner or insurance exec or a CEO, they may not be able to take the pay cut. What are your thoughts, though? What do you think? What are your thoughts on having less members of parliament? We've got Kenton Trott says all 18 should be paid minimum of 100,000 and be full-time if they desire. Okay, full-time members of parliament. I'm not opposed to it. I'm actually not opposed to it. I think that probably, or I shouldn't say probably, if people were required to leave their full-time jobs, knowing that if they fail at politics, they can't just say, oh, well, I still have my job. Maybe it would put them in a position where, you know what, I have to literally do my best because this is all I've got. I'm not opposed to that. I think that, yeah, I would love to, and again, I don't know where this is done, but I would like to see almost a commission-based, like a results-driven initiative. And if it's not done anywhere, who's to say we can't be the first? But let's go to the Cayman Islands and Turks and Caicos for a second. Let's travel over. So currently, Bermuda has 36 members of parliament, right? 36 members of parliament. Our population is, let's say 60,000. We just don't know, right? And the Turks and Caicos has 21 elected members in the House of Assembly, and they have a population of about 39, 40,000, right? And then we have the Cayman Islands. They have 19 elected members in its legislative assembly, and they have a population about 68,000, right? So when we look at the ratio, the Cayman Islands has one MP to about 3,579 people. Turks and Caicos has one MP to about 1,857 people. And Bermuda has one MP to about 1,736 people. All right. So Turks and Caicos is kind of close to us as far as ratio. But when I look at these ratios, maybe we can go 1 in 25. 1 in 2,500 people, right? I'm not a mathematician. Somebody can work that out for me, what that takes us down to. But in saying that, I don't think that remember, we had 40 MPs prior to 2003, right? Before one man, one vote. So we have reduced it. But what are your thoughts on having less members? What are your thoughts on, and again, go on to the link. How many do you think we need? Now, so far, the question, the QR code and the link, how many members of parliament do you believe Bermuda needs to have a properly functioning government? 33% of you have said 18 or less. 67% have said 19 to 26. 0% have said 27 to 35, and 0 have said leave it at 36. So basically, everyone's in agreement that we have too many right now. Most of you are saying between 19 and 26. So cut at least 10 MPs. That's what we're saying. Cut at least 10. All right. Let's go to the audience. What are your thoughts on having less members of parliament? We've got Charles H. Jeffers II says, I believe the number of MPs should be based on our population, not just registered voters. Absolutely, Charles. That's why I did population just now, not registered voters, because at the end of the day, there are children, someone who is 17 even, they're not a registered voter, and they matter, right? So he says one rep for every 2,000 people. Well, we're close to that, plus one for all overseas Bermudians, one senator for each parish. What I found interesting when I looked at I could be wrong, but it doesn't look like the other islands, Turks and Caicos and Cayman Islands, don't have a Senate, while Bermuda has a Senate. Interesting, right? Do we still need the Senate? I'm not saying advocating for getting rid of it, but I'm just asking, do we even still need the Senate? What are your thoughts, audience? Well, let me ask this question. So we kind of got it. Should we reduce the number of MPs? Where do you stand on that? Yes or no? Should we reduce the number of MPs in Bermuda? Yes or no? Just a quick yes or no. Should we reduce the number of MPs? Should we reduce the number of MPs? How do you feel about that? Yes or no? We've got Teresa Marie says, I agree, definitely more money full time. Okay, so we're going to say less people, full time, and more money. I mean, the Honorable former government minister Renee Webb said the same thing. You know, she was advocating for that. All right, so let's go to the Sean Speech Johnson says 2 MPs per parish. No, St. David's, we're not going to include them as a parish. So you're saying 18. And I think that's where most people were saying like 18 or less, like 2 reps. The challenge with that is a parish like Pembroke has a much greater rural, like not greater rural, a greater population than maybe a Smith parish or a Hamilton parish, right? So I don't know if it should be based on parish, because you want to make sure that, you know, it's equitable, right? You want to make sure it's fair representation. So it's hard to do it per parish. That's why you have constituencies. I get the idea. It sounds great, but some parishes have a greater population. All right. Should we reduce the number of MPs? Yes or no? Tanya Cheeseman says yes. WKD Lama says yes. Pam Wade says yes. Ellen Kate Horton says definitely less MPs. Anthony Richardson says decrease the MPs by 5 and increase the number of senators. So appointed, you would say increase the amount of appointed people. Ariana Hudson says you can change the rule of the Senate or their powers. Okay. Or change how senators are appointed. I would like to see, if we have senators, I would love to see the senators actually voted in. Now, again, that's beyond my pay grade and beyond my knowledge, but I would love to see that change. Should we reduce the number of MPs? Suzanne Ingham, yes. Okay, so I think we're all in agreement, as well as the government. I think the premier said it, right? We need to reduce it. We need to reduce it. I also agree, and I've said this long before, you know, and most of you disagree with me. I do believe that MPs the pay should be increased. Now, let me just share something with you, because my former boss, Glenn Blakeney, said this to me many years ago. It had to be over 15 years ago. When he broke down, he sat down with me and he explained to me why pay for MPs was always so low. And he said, you know, Jamal, it was a way to keep Black people out of politics. By keeping the pay low, you kept them out of politics, because most of the whites had businesses and so forth, so they didn't need it. So that was a strategy to keep you know, the politics. It was taking up people's time and the like. My challenge, though, is I don't like the idea of lifelong politicians. I don't like the idea of career politicians. I love the idea of service politicians, people who get in there, get involved, make a difference, and then, go on their merry way. Now, I'm not saying if someone's effective, we should just push them out. One thing I do like about the United States, although the current president, people want him to change it, they have term limits. I believe that we should have term limits for politicians. If we do go forth with lowering the number of MPs and increasing pay, I believe we should have term limits. That's my personal opinion. You all may disagree with that, but I do not believe in career politicians. I believe that we have to also add something like term limits in there. What the term limit looks like, I don't know. Whether it's 10 years, it's hard to do it because we don't have fixed term elections. It's hard to say, well, 10 years because then now we're putting by-elections out there, right? And you know how costly those could be. I don't know, audience. I don't know. Let's get back to you, though. What are your thoughts on having less members of parliament? Anthony Richardson said, make senators elected members. I concur. Graham Smith says, our 36 elected MPs are never going to vote to reduce the number of MPs. We should spend our time holding them accountable and demand real long, sustainable solutions. You know what? He makes a lot of sense. Like, why would people vote against themselves? Like, it could be them that no longer has an opportunity, right? Once the Boundaries Commission, like, it's asking, it's asking people to make themselves redundant. That makes sense? Make their own positions redundant. Most people probably won't do that. Michael Daniels says, I think that we need to make better use of the backbenchers. Well, part of John Barrett's argument, it says by law, there has to be 12, you have up to 12 cabinet ministers, 12 people in cabinet. And he said, if you reduce the number of MPs, how does that impact the backbench and also opposition, right? So he makes some great points. Ariana Hudson agrees with me in terms of term limits. She says 3-term max. But what does that look like since we don't have fixed term elections? What does that look like? How do we do that? I mean, David Burt has been the premier since 2017. He's had 3 elections in 8 years, right? So 3-term max. Are we saying that this should be the final term for anyone that was voted in for the first time in 2017? Is that what it looks like? Or would the 3-term be 15 years based on what an election cycle can be at max, 5 years? What does that look like? Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, I think that Senate should all be elected. Having another elected group of legislators not based on population would be beneficial. Anyone responsible for passing laws should be elected. I don't disagree. Anthony Richardson says, stagger how they're elected like they do with the U.S. Senate. I actually like how the U.S. Senate works. Suzanne Ingham says, yes, Jamel, service politician, terms too. Charles H. Jefferson II says term limits in the U.S. are only for the president and some guys. Yes, Charles, they are, but they've been discussed. Many people in Congress have called for, mainly Republicans, have called for term limits. So it's not something, although it only impacts the governors and some governors actually, and the U.S. president. It has been discussed because they want to get rid of some long-term politicians in the Congress, in the House and Senate. Anthony Richardson, says that's why the House of Lords still exists. They don't want to vote themselves out of a job. Correct. Ariana Hudson says it means some may reach 15 years, some may not. I get you, the flexibility in that. Thank you for that. We've got to bring Maya Palacio and go through these last few comments. Charles H. Jefferson II, he says we should have fixed term elections. Michael Daniels says this present government needs to do more face-to-face with all of the general public. Kenton Trott says, I agree on fixed term elections and term limits. And Suzanne Ingham says elections should be every 4 years, set date terms. All righty. Folks, this was your daily discussion brought to you by our friends over at Titan Tours. They're having that Fish Sandwich Tour and Secure Trucking. Do not go anywhere. We're going to continue this conversation after the news break and after we show some love to our sponsors for the discussion.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
Alrighty, folks. We have a birthday. Maya and I are going to sing happy birthday, but we're going to get to the news first. But I have a joke for you today, too. I think it's probably one of my best. I'm hyping it up. It's one of my best. Let's get to the news break, though.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, MP. I see you smiling, ready for my joke.
You know what's funny? I was actually practicing my fake laugh in the back.
Fake laugh?
Yeah. I was like, just getting ready for it because I literally wanted to just be kind this morning. So you just spoiled it for yourself. Like I was literally practicing.
But it's going to be really funny, though, this time.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Wow. What you got today, MP? How you feeling?
I feel like there's a lot to go over this morning. If you didn't listen into the session in the House of Parliament, a lot went down. So we'll probably get to that later in this week. But if you haven't listened in, it is quite interesting just to hear how even they acknowledge each other or how they speak about different things. I would say in the one that recently just happened, a lot of, let's say, issues were brought up from the PLP saying that the OBA, like you guys are basically saying all these things that you're not happy with, but none of you are bringing forward solutions. And then the Honorable Craig Kennedy brought forward a solution he thought would be reasonable when it came to basically the roads on Bermuda's, the disarray of the roads on our island. And he was kind of smacked back by the PLP because the former minister who just retired, Colonel Branch, did announce that there is more than one plant actually working on the roads, just two. But then Kennedy said, like, there's got to be private companies that we can actually put more money into to get this done and make it go faster because, like, clearly these roads are horrible and people are noticing that there's more accidents, there's more damage, and just the roads are deplorable. So there's a lot of back and forth on that front because is there a solution to it still? Or do we just need to put more money into it, or do we not have enough people on the island who could actually fix this problem? But
did you just start your news break, or were you just telling me how you're doing?
I was just telling you how I was doing. I was listening to the session. But
I hope you didn't have them on your mind this weekend, because I'm gonna send you some Epsom salt or whatever it's called.
It was like 7 hours long. But okay.
And I know, but the thing is, I saw people commenting on it, and I was just like, nah, it's been a long week, bro. Don't do it. Don't do it. But thank you. Thank you for doing it.
Gotta stay in the know. There was actually this one comment. I wanted to bring the audio clip on, but I clipped the whole thing and I lost where it was. But it was definitely an interesting statement made by, I believe it was Jason Hayward, about how at the point when they had 31, they're like the 31 didn't need the 6, and now the 25 don't need 11. Don't need the 11 when it comes to the legislation in the House. So that was, I'm gonna try to find that clip to bring tomorrow because that was like yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So we'll get into that. But good morning, everyone. This is your Daily Hour News Break brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. So the recent violent videos have been circulating the island, has prompted the Minister of National Security to address the matter and the seriousness of those who are involved with it. Here's the story.
We all witnessed an act of bravery and responsible citizenship on Wednesday afternoon from Deputy Principal Christopher Swan, who risked his life to tackle a young man armed with a knife. His quick response likely prevented serious harm, and we commend him for his courage and dedication to protecting others. However, this should never have happened in the first place. No student, teacher, or staff member should have to face this level of violence in a school environment or around Bermuda.
The minister continued on about how the island should respond.
This antisocial behavior among our youth is deeply concerning. We cannot afford to lose any more of our children to violence, crime, and negative influences. Every life lost, every young person caught up in the justice system, and every act of youth violence is a failure of society. We must also demand that the parents of these children take responsibility for their behavior. These children are clearly recognizable in these videos, So it is right for us to expect that the adults in their lives take accountability for this unacceptable and egregious behavior.
You know, while I appreciate the minister and his comments, this is almost like, what's they saying the reggae used to say, pull up or rewind. You know how they used to DJs pull up a tune. This could have been said 15 years ago. I think people are tired of the talking points. And while I don't disagree that, grateful to the deputy principal for getting involved and so on, I think people want to see, even the advice that he gave, yeah, okay, cool. So are we going to be having a different minister in 5 years saying the same thing? Or is there actual legislation and policies that are going to be put in place to ensure this doesn't happen? Or is it all on the public to play their role? Or is it a combination? And again, just a cycle continues. I don't know. I just feel like this happens. It's like a cycle.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go out of order from my news and jump to something that I actually had at the end because it's relevant to that story. So I'm gonna have an upcoming story this week. So stick with me on it as I want to kind of have the audience yourself just mull over the question that we want to get the answer to. So I'll begin. Is youth violence on the rise, or are we just seeing more of it? Now, this is a question we're asking after videos of violent fights among young Bermuda people continue to surface online. Most recently, a fight at Cedar Ridge Academy, which turned dangerous when a student brandished a knife, forcing the deputy principal to step in. But is this just an isolated incident or part of a larger trend? Statistics from the Bermuda Police Service in 2022 show a decline in all crime in Bermuda, from the highest peak in the early 2000s being over 1,600 offenses to recent times in 2022 being under 1,000 offenses. Last week, I also reported how the arrest of young persons under 18 was a total of 69 for 2022 versus 140 in 2019. Unfortunately, the Bermuda Police Service does not have any more recent data. However, the prevalence of young people committing violence has not been ignored and is frequently addressed. So again, this week, we will dive into the question, is youth violence on the rise, or are we just seeing more of it?
Well, I'll say this much, Maya. I think we must not act as if social media doesn't play a role, right? I think now everyone's recording stuff, so we're seeing it more, right? Before it was if it made it to the news and the like. So I think the access to video and real time stuff makes it seem like it's happening. But I think it's the level of crimes too. I mean, we're talking petty crimes versus serious crimes. I think we need to have a look at that to see what kind of crimes are being committed in 2022 versus 20 years ago as well.
Indeed, yeah. So we hope to have a more deep dive into that question, getting some answers from it, and speaking to the persons within the Bermuda Police Service as well. Okay, moving on to our next set of news here. As we talked about the number of persons in Parliament for Bermuda to run well and what number that will look like in our earlier discussion, here's a story that might influence you on that number exactly.
It seems Bermuda still has enough money to confirm for adjustments in pay increases as the government accepted the board's recommendation for members of the legislature and for speakers of the House.
This is a matter that requires careful consideration, balancing fairness with fiscal responsibility while ensuring that those who serve the people of Bermuda are compensated appropriately for the responsibilities that they shoulder.
You'll recall how the Premier did not support the board's recommended 18.8 increase for the Premier alone, with no other adjustments for any other officers. Therefore, instead, the government applied a 9.6 increase from the 2009 salaries to all officers except for the increase to the Minister of Finance and the SEG of the government whip salary to be equivalent to a junior minister. The largest difference in the salary would be the Speaker of the House, with a difference of nearly $75,000. The Speaker of the House originally would have received $26,569 salary and will now see the move to $100,841.
There has been no salary adjustment for members of the legislature in over 15 years. Additionally, ministers' salaries reduced by 10% in 2013, and those reductions have remained in place. Over this period, the demands and complexities of public service have increased significantly. Officers of the legislature now operate in an era of heightened public scrutiny, fast decision-making cycles, and increased responsibilities in a rapidly evolving governance landscape. Mr. Speaker, the scope of work required to manage critical national issues, engage with the public, and navigate modern governance challenges has grown substantially.
January 1st, 2025 was announced as the potential start date of these adjustments.
The resolution proposes that changes will take effect on January 1st, 2025, to ensure fairness in pension calculations for former members. This approach guarantees that long-serving members who recently left the legislature are not unfairly impacted by the 15-year wage freeze in pension calculations. Former members, such as the long-serving Deputy Premier, Deputy Speaker, Minister of Public Works, and members of the opposition who dedicated years of public service will have their pensions calculated on adjusted salaries rather than the 2009 rates.
I actually, you all know me. I have no problem disagreeing with the Premier, but I have no problem with any of that. My only issue, if I'm honest, my only issue is the people who currently hold some of the positions.
And this relates back to the earlier discussion as is the number that we have in Parliament, the number that we want as an island. Is it sufficient? Do we need less? Do we need more? Like, where are we in that situation? Now, in other news, bringing it into some island issues that we continue to have across the broad spectrum of things when it comes to our roads. Just before 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, March 22nd, police and first responders were called to a scene of a serious two-vehicle collision on east of Seymour Farm Road in Southampton. So reports indicate that a man driving a car exited a private driveway and collided with a motorcyclist traveling in the westbound lane. The motorcyclist is believed to have sustained potential serious injuries and has been taken to the hospital. The car driver was said to not have been injured, but anyone who witnessed this collision is please asked to contact Tashawn Simons at 515-2556, or again, you could call 211 if this is something that you witnessed.
Sending healing vibes.
Indeed. Moving on to our sports-related news, I got two stories for you. First one being, is archery on the rise? In sports today, Bermuda's own Robin Seeley has won bronze medal at the Junior Pan American Games archery competition in Buenos Aires, Argentina on March 23rd. Seeley, who has already qualified for the Junior Pan American Games in Paraguay this summer, defeated Guatemala in this match. So, audience, you may recall for the 2024 Olympic Games, Bermuda almost had our first archer, Cameron Pickering, join Team Bermuda. Through a series of unfortunate events, though, Bermuda did not win the seat to take an archer to the Games. But the goal of it happening may not be out of reach for the next time, as every athlete truly is an Olympic hopeful. So in her recent victory, the 16-year-old defeated Guatemala, where they are tied 5-5 before both archers shot a 7 in their one arrow play, and Seeley was awarded the win as her arrow was closest to the center.
Well, they used to call me Bullseye back in the day. I went up to Canada a couple years and went out in the woods, and boy, I was a Boy Scout. I'm telling the truth. I am. I asked Dunville Yard, and I got patches because I done pretty well with the archery, but it was more luck. I have no aim, folks. I'm gonna be real with you. It was more luck than anything.
You didn't know you could have capped with it. You could have been the first archer at the Olympics with Bermuda.
This is true. Yep, this is very true, man.
Close it out with this story here that happened over the weekend, despite a phenomenal showing by Dale Eve, the goalkeeper of Bermuda's football team for the men's. And there's some very serious weather actually up the National Sports Center and some hopeful beginnings. The Bermuda men's football team still took a loss over the weekend. But here's your full story.
Did mention the team's lack of familiar faces approaching this matchup against the 7th-ranked team in CONCACAF. The players and staff said that they were excited about the challenge and were looking forward to once again testing themselves against the 7th-ranked team in CONCACAF, while Bermuda sits at 21. You may recall him saying, "This is why we play football at the end of the day, to compete at the highest level possible and provide our fans an opportunity to support their team, a dream of a trip to the 2020."
Oh, I mean, it was great to go up 2-0 against Honduras. I mean, Honduras are another level. Let's just be real. They competed. And I think for that, without some of their key players. I think that for that they deserve a round of applause. But I think those who love football are big fans of football. I had to respond to Landon Donovan, former U.S. team captain, on Twitter X yesterday because all these former U.S. players, Alexi Lawless and Landon Donovan, run at the mouth about the current players, which are majority black. So that's why I'm defensive. You all know me. I'm gonna defend black folk. They run at the mouth. Oh, this team may be the most talented, this, that, and the other, but they lack pride. First off, sometimes we have to face reality, and the reality is this: it's not about pride or talent. Sometimes the other team's just better, and I think that's what the reality Bermudians need to understand. Bermuda competed with Honduras, but the reality is they're just better players. Sometimes we have to face that reality, So no, they competed, and if they continue to compete like that, you'll see progress. You'll see growth.
And like mentioned in the story, and like you're saying right now, Jamal, like statistically, yeah, Honduras ranked number 7, Bermuda ranked number 21.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right, they did compete, and they definitely held their own in the beginning.
Yeah.
So looking forward to see what type of result they'll garner next week, Tuesday. Yeah. All right, now looking at the weather for everyone today, it's saying it's going to be bright and sunny. Step outside. You tell me if that's going to be true, if you're going to see any rain this afternoon, but it doesn't look like there should be. Some light wind should be happening coming through. We have a high of 71, but hopefully it's just a day of pure sunshine for you guys back home.
All righty. Thank you for that, Maya. Maya, it's National Cocktail Day. And you know what? One thing I'm happy about, I love to try different restaurants. One of the things that I've noticed on almost every menu these days is mocktails. That's something you didn't see 5 years ago. But in the interest of not being about me, audience, what's your favorite cocktail? I'm gonna go for it this time. My favorite mocktail? Anything with ginger in it. Seriously. Anything with ginger in it. Like, so many restaurants have a ginger option. It might be ginger and blueberry. They use pomegranate stuff and all this, but once I see ginger, I'm in there. I'm in there. How about you? What's your favorite? What's your favorite, Maya?
Well, as you know, and I think the audience might know, this year I'm just gonna go completely sober. So recently I went and I had this mocktail, and it did have ginger in it. I think it was Lily. I think it was a virgin or non-alcoholic dark and stormy. And so they use non-alcoholic rum. And I realized out here they have like or non-alcoholic vodka. Like they still have the name in it, but still like would not have to be, So I was like, oh, this is interesting. So I did grab that, and yeah, it tasted good. Tasted great.
Yeah, I actually have non-alcoholic rum. I'll take a picture and share it with everyone today. It's like this coconut rum. It's basically just coconut water. It tastes like, and I mix it with my ginger. But honestly, amazing. WKD Lama says ginger and grenadine. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else got a favorite cocktail, mocktail? We've got Suzanne Ingham says, I eat ginger and drink ginger tea every day. It's awesome. So that's her mocktail. All right. Well, I have a joke for you all. I have a joke. Since you don't share. All right. Here we go.
All right.
Let me sit properly. It's gonna make my abs work. That's how funny it is.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, audience.
Last time in months.
Wow. All right, here we go. Here's your joke of the day for Monday the 24th before we sing the happy birthday song. Maya, TDH community. What's Bugs Bunny's preferred method of digital social communication?
What's Bugs Bunny's preferred method of digital social communication? Hopping, bouncing, carrot. What's up, Doc? I don't know. Nothing's coming to mind.
She almost had it. What's Bugs Bunny's preferred method of digital social communication? WhatsApp, Doc. Get it? WhatsApp. Not what's up, WhatsApp.
That was actually kind of funny. I'll give that one a little bit of a chuckle.
A little bit of a chuckle. You almost got it. You said what's up, Doc, but WhatsApp. Yeah, WhatsApp it is.
I do like it because it's clever, like a good clever pun. So I gave it a chuckle.
Okay, we almost got her, folks. We almost got her. See, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Yep. We've got Suzanne. She's on board. That was all right. All right. So we got a happy birthday. You want to sing happy birthday?
I thought you were going to sing happy birthday.
No, they said they don't want to hear me. They'd say they'd pay me not to sing it. All right.
What version of happy birthday we singing?
Let's see. Hold on. You want to go that, or you want to go? Which one?
The second one, I think.
Okay. All right. So Larry Marshall Jr. has a birthday today, Maya.
I'm in church.
What, you chose this one. So, audience, do us a favor and wish a happy birthday to Larry Marshall Jr. He's almost Maya's age. Yeah, he's catching her up. He hasn't been on in a while, but he'll be on probably this week as final week because he's leaving the Daily Hour, folks. So, in the audience, wish him a big happy birthday. You want to sing for him, MP?
Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday, Marshall.
I don't think that kind of went with this.
No, it did not, but it's okay. I want it to be more upbeat. I feel like we're going a little downhill there.
Well,
you like you, Marshall. I didn't think it was going to be like that. I thought it was going to get happier.
All right. Well, we've got some happy birthdays. Kenton Trot wishing him a happy birthday. Teresa and Marie wishing him a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Big Burp. And we'll do they still do birthday punches? Like, people still do that?
No, I don't think that's the thing anymore.
That's too violent. Okay. Well,
birthday money.
What's that?
Birthday money.
Oh, we ain't got none of that. Sure. Hey, but look, hey, Maya, you don't like cake, do you?
No, I'm not a cake person.
All right, well, I'm gonna take Maya's piece of cake. Send us a piece of birthday cake. We got Karen Simmons says, "Happy birthday, Coach Larry." Suzanne says, "Happy birthday, Larry Burp. Do you have to leave the show?" Yeah, he don't want to be with us no more. He says, "Thank you, everyone. Love the song, Maya." Man, you talk it up. That was. I'm joking. It was beautiful, Maya. We appreciate it. Happy birthday, Mr. Marsh. That's probably right. And people, see you later.
I'll see you later.
All right, my Palacio folks, do not go anywhere. Folks, if you've appreciated the conversation, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, Instagram, do us a huge favor. Give us a love, a like, thumbs up. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. When we come back after this break, I've got another question for you. We'll be back in a minute, 55 seconds.
Looking for the best care for your pets? No.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Unlock your business potential with BDC's General Microloan, offering up to $30,000 for Bermudian small and medium businesses. Whether it's for inventory, working capital, or equipment, we provide 100% guarantee on approved loans. Simple application, low interest rates, and fast processing. Apply today and make your business dream come true.
Bermuda heat is no joke. Is your AC ready for summer? A quick tune-up now can keep you cool, save energy, and prevent costly breakdowns later. Call 2920881 or book your service online at bac.bm.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Folks, have you got your tickets for the gala yet? You may want to get them by the end of this week because the price will be increasing after this week. All right, welcome back to the big show. I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, quick question. How do you feel about the pay increase for politicians? Just how do you feel about it? Just how do you feel about the pay increase? How do you feel about it? As I said earlier, I am okay with it. I'm fine with it. It's not about the increase in pay for the position. I think most of us just have an issue, and I could be speaking out of turn. Don't want to speak for anyone, but I think with the feedback I get and the things we discuss, I think that our issue is the people who currently hold the positions, not necessarily that the positions should not be paid, a proper amount. And when I say a proper amount, an amount that will attract some of the best of Bermuda. But how do you feel about the pay increase for politicians? How do you feel about it? Are you for or against? Are you okay with it? Let us know real quickly how you feel about it. Again, I'm okay with it. Hope that you're all okay with it. But again, who am I to say what you should be okay with? You may feel different. You may have your own reasons. But let us know how you feel about the increase in pay for our members of parliament. And I just want to go to visit those who responded to the QR code. So the percentages have changed a bit about how many members of parliament do you believe Bermuda needs to have a properly functioning government. 43% of you have said 18 or less. 57% of you have said 19 to 26. And then 0% have said 27 to 35, and 0% have said leave it as it is. So the majority are basically saying 26 or less. Well, everyone's saying 26 or less, with the majority of respondents saying 19 to 26. All right. Again, how do you feel about the pay increase for politicians? Karen Edwards Simmons says, I'm okay with it. And Suzanne Ingham says, I don't agree with the pay increase for politicians, and many of them need to go. But Suzanne, are you saying you don't agree with the pay increase in pay for the people who are currently in the positions, or you don't agree with politicians, period, being paid more? Let us know. All right, let's take our final break, folks. We'll be back. We've got a daily play for you. I want to see who gets this one. It's rather easy. We'll be back in a minute, 55 seconds. Stick with us.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazok Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
Join us as we celebrate 5 years and 1,000 plus episodes of community conversations on Bermuda's daily talk show. The Daily Hour Gala takes place on April 26th at LF Wade International Airport. For more information and advance tickets, please send an email to admin@bermudacommunications.com. We look forward to celebrating all that's great about our community with all of you.
Did you know 3 out of 4 people say that they have a good understanding of life insurance? But do they really? When asked how much the yearly cost would be for a 20-year, $250,000 level term life insurance policy for a healthy 30-year-old, 80% overestimated the cost by 5 times the amount. Ready for this? The true cost for that policy is about $220 a year. That's as little as 66 cents a day, or $20 a month. So let's put this into perspective. Compared to other monthly costs, isn't getting life insurance a no-brainer? If you can trim back on some of these expenses just a little bit, it will allow you to dedicate the savings toward an affordable life insurance policy. Contact one of our life insurance agents today to find the right policy for you.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to all of you for tuning in. Folks, if you haven't already, do us a big favor, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, or Instagram. It literally costs you nothing. Make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share, subscribe. And if you want to become a member and get access to some, inside stuff, just join our YouTube membership page. All right. Also, if you haven't already, get your tickets now. The price will increase as of April 1st. So get your tickets for the gala. The gala will be taking place on April 26th at LF8 International Airport. It will be a night of celebration while we honor someone who has made probably some of the biggest contributions to modern media in Bermuda, Glenn Blakeney. So get your tickets today. Come out, have a fun time, and engage us. Come and see how tall I am in real life. Many of you are shocked that I'm actually really 6'2". Before we head to the Daily Play, Charles H. Jefferson II says, I have no issues with the increases. I wish it was announced with a pledge to look at true electoral reform to include less MPs, fixed term elections, absentee ballots, etc. And then we've got Nicole Walker says pay increase is okay, but need to get value for money, which we aren't seeing now. Indeed. All right, here's the Daily Play. It's time for, first of all, thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring we can do this with you on a daily basis. It's time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, audience, are you ready? It's Bermuda Trivia today. Easy question. Here's the question. All right. Who did MP Chris Famous defeat in the 2017 general election to become a member of parliament? All righty. Yes, Sheldon Fox got it first. Bob Richards, it was. Charles Jefferson II almost got it, as did Adeline Swan, as did Emily Gill Dill, as did Larry Marshall, the birthday fella, and Teresa Ann Marie. Everyone got it. You didn't know this one, Mark? Come on, man. He took down what they said, took down the giant. Took down Goliath. Is that what they say? All righty. All right, let's wrap it up, folks. Look, at the end of the day, I do believe that Bermuda's biggest issue is that we don't attract the best. And when I say the best, people we can trust with passing legislation and policies. We just don't attract the best politicians. Is that to say that everyone who's in the House is a bad person or not good enough? No, that's not saying that. We have a lot of good people in the House of Assembly. We do. We probably have more good than bad. That's a fact. But are they running the show? My hope is that we can increase the pay and we can attract better candidates and that we do have less people. I'm quite sure even those in the House would admit 36 for our population is probably too much. But there is a risk. There is a risk. And John Barrett discussed them in his op-ed in the Royal Gazette. The risk of less MPs is about accountability. And as far as I'm concerned, you may not like what I'm about to say, but the Bermudian people, we have not done a great job of holding our elected officials accountable. We haven't. So if we really want less MPs, then we have to do more. We have to speak out. We have to act. We have to do some things a bit different to hold those elected accountable. All right, let's get to give you a quote of the day. I'm going to my book now. What are we going to go with? All right, let's see. I love this. Stokely Carmichael, aka Kwame Ture, was a civil rights activist, and he was the leader of the SNCC and honorary prime minister of the Black Panther Party. And this quote says, "Our grandfathers had to run, run, run. My generation's out of breath. We ain't running no more." End quote. Well, I don't think the reason my generation's not running is because they're out of breath. I think the reason my generation isn't running is because they're comfortable, they're content, and some are even lazy. All right, folks, if you haven't already, make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. It is time for me to say, don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are is out. Peace.